Hello, welcome everybody. This is George Ansong here. We're talking about buy, fix, and flip. I've headed the topic Niche Rehab Investors Forum, understanding luxury rehab investment. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about myself. All right, my name is George Ansong, and I've been in the real estate business as an investor for a long time. As a matter of fact, in the early 1980s, I took a no money down seminar um, that helped me to acquire a little bit of knowledge to buy my first property in Brooklyn, New York. That was in the early 80s. And then I bought a couple more in Jersey City, New Jersey, when I decided to move to Atlanta with my family in 1990. I sold all the properties and hello, welcome. How's everybody? Welcome. I just started, but um allowed to talk, allowed to talk. Hello, welcome.
Hey, Mr. Ansong, how you doing?
Okay, good yourself.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you
I'm
so
happy.
much for doing the webinar. I appreciate it. I read your bio already. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah. I thought nobody was joining me because I started, but it's okay. Um, so I have another like 2 or 3 people on the forum. Can you guys hear me? All right.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, let me just get started. And I was just introducing myself, right? Like I said, my name is George Ansong, and I've been involved in this real estate business for a long time. As a matter of fact, I bought my first property in the early 1980s, right? That tells you how young I am, right? That was in Brooklyn, New York. Uh, and then I bought a couple in Jersey City, New Jersey. And then I decided to move to New York with my family in the 1990s. I sold those properties and then I came over here. As an investor, when I came, of course, I have to learn the market a little bit. So uh, after a while, I formed a company with a friend of mine. His name is Jeff. We formed a company and then we started buying and selling and we did pretty good um, until let's see, uh, formed a quadrant investment with a partner. We bought and fixed property for a while. And then we experienced the market crash in 2008, 2009. If most of you can remember, around that time was terrible. We lost some of the property. We lost some of the properties with our investors and stuff like that. But I'm the kind of guy that always like to bounce back. Before the crash too, I was teaching real estate investment in area colleges. I'm in Atlanta area. So taught in Kennesaw State University for about 10 years, teaching real estate, investment, foreclosures, all the topics. When I was doing this, I wrote all my instructional materials. I was organizing real estate mentoring and coaching, taking my students to go see properties, teaching them, just, coaching, mentoring them. I helped a whole bunch of them become very, very successful. Like I said, we went on field trips for my investors to gain first-hand knowledge. I always believe that real estate is so practical that like later on, I might decide to do like a course or something where I will take you guys, if you're interested, take you to see some of the properties that we're working on so that you can ask more questions. Currently, I have a company, DAV Capital Partners. That's what we do. We buy, we fix, and we sell properties. And the illustration that I'm going to use in this session, I'm going to tell a typical property that we bought maybe about 6 weeks or 7 weeks ago. So I'm going to walk you through the numbers so that you can exactly see what's going on. I have a contracting company that we have I have joined together that we buy and manage the projects. Currently, and I have to disclose that I'm an agent also, and I have been investor for a long time now. I've been an agent too. So now I'm writing a book. The book is called The Cash Flow Real Estate Agent. It's going to show agents how to work with investors, because that has been my my life all this time. And this is the website for the book. If you need to ask me a question, or you have any more question or anything, or you have to after the session you want to email me or ask me a question, I'm always available to answer all the questions that you have. So that's my name, and that's my company, and that's my email, if you want to note it down. Okay, now we're going to start the actual session. Okay. As a practical matter, right, I always like to start my teaching by just giving you an overview of what I believe are the 10 building blocks, what I call the 10 building blocks of an investor, of a real estate investor. 10 building blocks. I believe that, like you guys are doing right now, I believe that education is very, very important. You know, you have to educate yourself, read books, attend seminars like what you're doing, and get mentors, get people who are doing what you want to do, so that they can help you. So I believe that education is very, very important. You know, I've been in the business for a long time, but you know, real estate is always changing. There's always something coming on. So you have to really be on top of the market, education-wise, so that you really know what's going on. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I always encourage you to do is that what I call, what is your winning formula? In other words, as an investor, right? What do you really want to do? What niche are you going to pursue? For example, I have done all, you know, wholesaling, rental, all, but at this time in my life, I'm concentrating on buy, we fix, and we sell. For a lot of reasons that I'll go into details later on. But that is my winning formula. And you know, also I've been able to define exactly what I want to do. So what we do right now, we buy properties, we fix, and most of the property that we sell, I would say about $500,000 and over and up. See, that's my winning for. Before we used to do like 100,000, then we put about maybe another 100, we sell it for 350, stuff like that, right? But now, after all these years, I've been able to organize and, you know, formulated a winning formula. So I will encourage you to have a winning formula. Winning formula is, what type of properties are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing there? Are you buying, renting? Are you buying, wholesaling? What are you doing? So that's what I call your winning formula. Another thing that I'll encourage you guys to look at is the local market, right? For example, you know, I remember about maybe 6 months or maybe even 3 months ago, the market was very, very hot, and people, when the property comes on the market, you might have about 10, 15, 20, you know, which was unusual, which was crazy. But over the past maybe 6 weeks, the market has been changing a little bit, okay? Especially in the high-end market that I'm working on. Property used to sell pretty fast, maybe in 30 days it will sell, but now I've seen a slowing, and I have a market on the market that is taking longer to sell. So I have to explain to my partners and my investors, hey, this is what's going on in the market. So if it hasn't sold, don't get panic, because the market has changed. You know, you also have to know what's going on in the as far as interest rates are concerned. And as an investor, for example, we are doing a high-end market because people who buy in the high end, they are very, very sensitive when it comes to interest rate. So if rates are 2 or 3%, they'll be able to buy more property they'll be able to buy more properties. So the high end market for me makes sense at this time. Now, as the market changes and things changing and maybe rates go up, I might adjust or look at the other options, a different strategy. Okay. Also, right now, as you all know, we are in what we call seller's market. Buyers have to really search diligently to look for properties to buy. So if you are, you know, like fix buy and sell property, you're in a big, in a good position because you can fix your property, put in the market, and then sell. And also, I don't know if you guys have noticed now the market is also rental properties are commanding higher rents because of shortages of rental properties on the market. So that's another thing too that you have to take into consideration as you look at the market as an investor. You have to be knowledgeable. You have to know what's going on so that you will not be blindsided when something happens and you're not very, very cognizant of what's going on in the market. The next thing I want to talk about is that, as you all know, real estate is a team sport, so to speak, right? When you have a deal, there's so many people involved, you have the agent, you have the lender, you have the surveyor, you have, so many. So you have to be able to have the lawyer, so many professionals that come together to really be able to help you accomplish your goals. So as you get started, I will encourage you to start, getting to know some of these players so that when you have a deal, they will be able to help you accomplish your goals. The next one I'm going to talk about is what I call capital to complete deals. As you all know, real estate is a very, very capital intensive. How come I'm not seeing myself? What happened? How come I don't see myself? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Okay, as you did you guys see me when I was talking? Hello.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, all right. What was I saying? Okay, let me go back. Okay, I was talking about capital to complete deals, right? All right, as you know, real estate is a very, very capital intensive. When I say capital intensive, that means you have to have a lot of capital to complete deals, right? So I always have tried to look for investors to help me complete my deals, right? Because as an investor, if you buy 2 or 3 or 4 properties, or maybe 2 or 3, and you go to the banks, they could go to loan you any more money. Why? Because they'll say that your debt to income ratio is too high and stuff like that. So you are limited maybe to 4 properties. Now, if you want to buy more properties, what are you going to do? The idea is to try to look for capital from other sources. All right. So capital to complete deals as an investor is very, very important. And you have to consider other ways to raise money to complete your deals. I'll talk more about it when I start talking about what I do actually. Another thing that we talk about is what I say your exit strategy. If you're buying a property, what are you going to do with it? Are you buying to rent, fix and rent? Are you buying to rent, fix and then refinance? Are you trying to buy, whatever that you're trying to do? So my thinking is that if you're buying a property, you have to know exactly what you're going to do. You cannot buy it and then later on in the middle of your purchase, then you decide, oh, I'm going to do this. If you do that, you're going to lose money. So right from the onset, you have to know exactly what you want to do. The next thing that you have to look at is the tax implication of your deal. In other words, for example, if you are doing buy, fix, and sell, let's say you buy, fix, and sell, you made about 50, 60, maybe $100,000. You have to consider that Uncle Sam might be taking maybe 15, 20, 25% of the money that you made. So what's your plan when you have the money? There is something called 1031 exchange, that you can you can use to, when you get the money, you can use to buy another property so that you can minimize the taxes that you have to pay and stuff like that. So there are so many strategies that you have to understand, I mean, if you're buying and renting, that's a different thing altogether, it has different tax implications than if you're buying and then flipping properties. The next thing that we can think about is risk. All right. For example, the formula that I'm doing right now, buy, fix, and sell, to me, it's much more highly risky than buying to rent, for example. Why? Because when you're buying, fixing, and selling, you're dealing with so many people. You deal with contractors, you're dealing with the city. For example, last year during the pandemic, right, we bought a property in around March, April, and we were trying to, in Atlanta, Kirkwood area, we're trying to fix and sell. It took us about almost 4 months to get our permit authorized for us to do the construction. So imagine every month you're paying, let's say $3,000 mortgage payment. Meanwhile, you're just waiting. I mean, you're waiting for the city to give you the permit so you can get started. Apart from that, too, you have to hire a surveyor to do a survey, engineering. So there's so much involved when you're doing buy, fix, and flip. So you have to be able to have experienced people to work with you, or even team up with somebody that have done it a couple of times, so that at least you'll be exposed to some of the risks that are involved. Okay, so you have to consider the risks involved when you do whatever strategy or whatever strategy that you decide to embark on. Also, time involved, right? Real estate is a time consuming. It takes a long time to really understand and know what's going on. You might come in and, things might be well and you might make some money and then you can relax and so, but I believe that it takes a long time to understand the nuances involved in real estate investment, so be patient and learn as much as you can. All right. The next thing is, the next thing I'm going to talk about is, call it, what is it? So, why is this still here? It's not going to work. Okay, time and then what? Time. Okay, and then I think the last thing is what we call real estate is the ideal investment, IDEAL. I stand for income, D is depreciation, E is equity, A appreciation, and then L is leverage. So in summary, the real estate is the ideal investment that we can participate and be able to create wealth for us and lead us to really where we want to be. All right. Now, let me just start my. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you about buy, fix, and sell, what I do. And this is my experience. Now, you remember I told you about my winning formula, right? What I do is I have specific zip codes that I buy. And then that's some of the zip code I have, like 30079, 30018, and the 30022 is 3002. It's not 22, so you can make them. So these are the 5 zip codes that I buy. I know the market, I know what's going on. And I have a network with a lot of wholesalers that send me deals. So when they send me the deals, I analyze to see if it makes sense. And if it makes sense, I team up with have about 3 or 4 or 5 investors that I work with. So we're able to put our money together and then buy it. So what we do right now is that initially we used to get what we call hard money lenders to lend us the money from the beginning to buy the property. But we realized that with the city sometimes taking longer, we will be paying interest payment and then it eats into our profit. So what we do is that we now put together like 2 or 3 investors, we put our money together, right? And then we buy the property initially, cash initially, all right? Then in these zip codes, we pay cash. So when we pay cash, then we're able to take our time to get a permit, survey, engineering, whatever we have to do. All right. When we get all set and we have the permit, then we go to the hard money lender to go and get the money. So let's just go and show you what and how the numbers look like. All right. Let me move this here. Okay. Now, I said from money partners, right? You remember I told that real estate is very capital intensive, right? So what I do is I try to find like 2 or 3, what I call them money partners, right? That will help us fund the initial purchase and some of these things that we have to do before we go go get a loan from the hard money lenders that we use, right? Now, what are the money that we raise? What we use it for? We use it to do the architectural plans, because most of the property, even if we have to fix, sometimes we buy it, it's let's say 1,000 square foot, right? We want to expand it to maybe 28 or 2,500 square foot. We have to add more square footage to it so that we can increase the value. So we have to have an architectural plans. We have to have a survey, permit, engineering, arborists. Sometimes we have to cut the trees in the, some of the trees to make room for the square footage that we have to do. We need a dumpster, trash remover. Sometimes the current costs and stuff like the insurance payment, utilities, property taxes, right? So we need money upfront to pay for all, implying the property cash, to pay for all this before we go to the fund money partner to go get the loan that we need to actually do the construction. All right. So that is very, very important. And the reason that we do that is that you can go hard money lenders or the lenders, right? They can give you the money that you need to purchase the property and then to fix the property. They can give you. All right. And I'll give you an example when next we go. They can give you the money, but then immediately they give you the money. Immediately they give you the money, you have to start paying the interest. And let's say it's going to take you about 2 or a month or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months before you get all your plans ready. That means you'll be paying the interest and all that. And by the time you finish, you're not going to make the money that you plan to make. All right. So that's one of the reasons why we use fund money partners to help us fund the initial cost of the construction and everything before we go to the hard money lenders to get a loan that we need. Okay. So that's what now. The next thing is we're going to go over numbers. All right, let me bring it here. All right, before we do a deal, right, we take it through the number. This is very, very important, right? Real estate, I believe, is numbers game. You really have to understand the numbers and see what's going on. So when I see a property, right, first I have to determine what I call the after repair value, right? And the property that I'm talking about, this is a property that we have bought that we are doing the survey, we are working on the permit and all that, right? Investors pay cash for it. So this is how it looks like, right? After repair value, you can write it down, because the formula is very, very interesting. It will help you. And then later on, if you have questions, we can answer it. But after repair value is the comparables in the area, right? How much properties that have been fixed are selling for. In the area that we bought this property, they are selling for $650,000. Some are even a little bit higher, but I want to be conservative, so I put 650, right? Now, purchase price of the property is $169,000. Okay. The construction costs that the hard money lenders or the bank is going to give us is 250. So if you add the 169 and the 250, you come to purchase and construction cost of 419. Okay, so in this deal, the gross profit, just the gross, not net, the gross, is $650,000 minus 490,000. So the gross profit is $231,000. This is minus a whole bunch of stuff, like minus the builder, how much it's going to cost listing the property, all the other expenses that we have to incur. So the gross profit is just the profit that we're going to get. Now, to validate what we're doing, right? I have a formula that I use that I'm going to explain to you, right? What we do is we take the after repair value, in this case, it's 650,000, right? And multiply it by 70, all right? 650 times 70 gives you 455. 455 right here, right? So 455, you subtract the 169,000 dollars, it comes to 286. Okay, sorry, 286. 286, right? So that tells me that we are in the ballpark. That tells me that, you know, this 419 and 455, that tells me that it's a decent deal, because the rule 70 is telling me that we should be around 419, right? But now we are at 455. So that tells me that, you know, it's a, you know, very good deal. That means if we run into cost overruns and stuff like that, right, we still have enough money to cover it. This area might be a little bit not confusing, but a little bit distant. So before I move on, if you have any questions, right, let me see if I can let you. Okay. If you have any questions, like, ask me before I move on. Any questions so far? Say allowed to talk. Let me say allowed to talk. Do you guys have any questions?
Not yet. Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you would take your private money lenders for the 169, and the hard money lenders will pay the 250.
Okay. You see this, you know, the after repair value, right? 650.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a price that we determine how much we can sell the property for after we fix the property or after we renovate the property, whatever. Okay. So that is something that you have to do your homework, you know, when you see a property in the area, you say, hey, and normally, like if you buy from wholesalers, right, they will say, oh, ARV, that's what they call it. ARV is whatever it is, but you have to verify the number, right? 169 is how much we pay the property for, how much we pay, you know, how much we paid for, you know. In this case, we pay cash for it. But then we're going to borrow the construction cost or rehab cost. We're going to borrow the $250,000 from the bank or hard money lender, right, to do the work.
Okay.
So when you add the 169, right, and the 250, you come to the both will give you 419. All right. Now to get a profit, you subtract the cost of the purchase price from and you add the purchase price and the construction cost. You know, you add them and then you subtract it from the 650, which is the how much you're going to sell it for. Okay, so the gross profit that you get is the 231. Now, but the best way to do it, you know, I just did, but the best way to do it, anytime you have a property that you're going to buy, for example, right? First you multiply the after repair value or how much you're going to cost it for, right? There's a formula. That's the formula that I give you. It's 650, right? Times 70%. That means your construction cost and the purchase will come to the 455. Am I making sense or I'm confusing?
Yeah, you making sense. Another question. So of that profit, 231, how much does the hard money lender get?
Oh, hard money lender right now. Hard money lender would, when you go to get a loan, right, they would, you know, charge you costs and whatever that you pay upfront, right? They will charge you like discount points and insurance or whatever, right? So that you pay at the closing when you go to get this loan, 250,000 loan, all right? You pay. So let's say it's 3% of that. Like let's say 3% of 250, right? How much is that? I'm just giving an example. Okay, that's a good question. Let's see. Okay, 250. Okay, sorry, 250. Okay, so let's say 7,500. Let's say it's $8,000, right? Okay, so that's how much closing cost is going to cost you. All right, plus maybe interest. Maybe you have to pay 6 months interest or whatever, right? So that's going to come out from the 231,000. Maybe you have to pay commission, right? The agent that's going to sell the property for you, you have to subtract it, right? So miscellaneous costs and stuff like that. So those are the costs. So let's say everything being equal, even everything you pay everything, you walk away with $100,000 in this instant. That's a good profit to have. And maybe you have 2 or 3 investors that came in. They will come there, they will get their money, and then they would share the profit that comes in. You know what I mean? So buy, fix, and sell. There's a lot of profit in there. The only thing, like I explained, is can be very trickish to manage all the aspects. The constructor. We'll talk about when we go to construction and all that. You have to be very, very careful, because the longer it takes for them to complete the job, the more money you make, the more money you spend, and then the less it decreases your gross profit. That's why they use this formula, because this formula says that at least you have 30% margin that you have to manage, 30%, which is pretty good. So you have to make sure that you're able to, even if you spend about 15% expenses and stuff like that, you still have 15% margin. Or in the case of 231, let's say $100,000 is what we spend for all the expenses. I mean, you still have $131,000 to, if you have a couple of investors to help them, to pay them off. Do you have any more questions, or did that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes sense. I do have another question, but I can wait till the end.
Okay. And me having done this for long, the best thing, and I'm planning it, I haven't decided yet. Yeah, it's like if you're in the Atlanta area, I'll arrange down the line. I haven't decided when. I'll arrange for us to go see like some of the projects that we're doing, and then so then it will make much more sense to you. Go see it, look at the area, see why we chose the area and stuff like that. Because that's very, very important. The area I'm talking about, if you're in Atlanta, it's called Avondale Estate. That property we bought is in Avondale Estate.
Oh yeah.
Properties,
Know that
I mean, yeah, okay. 650, 675, some even in the 700 price range, And this property that we bought is like a tear down, right? So we're going to tear it down and put a new property over here. Let's go to there. So talk about this. This is my okay. So we talk about understanding the numbers. Okay. Now this is one of the areas that is very, very, very managing the rehab process. I know you've heard a lot of horror stories about hiring a contractor. Maybe the contractor ran away, or they said they were going to do it in maybe 2 months or 3 months, and it took 6 months. And it's not very, very unusual, especially in this environment, right? Even we are, facing or confronting some of these challenges. And the reason is because with the pandemic and with shortage of materials and with all kinds of stuff going on, right? It's very, very difficult. We are very, very challenging environment. So in your case, if you are going to do this strategy, the best thing is to work with experienced contractors. There are contractors that even licensed that work solely with investors, that maybe if you're part of, because they have a lot of Atlanta real estate, what do you call it, associations around. You can join, some of them, so that you can meet some of these contractors. They work with investors all the time, right? So they know what's going on. I happen to be have a a guy a long time ago that they are licensed contractors, so we just like form together, come together, right? So they do most of the job that we have, and so they have a stake in it. So that means that they make sure that we, even sometimes we also, fall behind our schedule and stuff like that, which is the nature of doing construction and stuff like that. Like, if you've done a small job, you know how you were expecting it to take about a week or two, and then it took forever to get it done. So that's why I remember when I started, I told you about the risks involved in real estate, right? And when you come to rehab projects, this is one of the area that needs to be managed well, right? Because if it takes longer to finish, every month you paying a contractor, or you paying the trades, we call them, you know, electrical guy, plumbing guy, HVAC guy, you paying them. It's taking forever to do it. And then you have to, after you finish everything to rehab, you have to have the city to come and inspect to give you the CO, certificate of occupancy, we call it, So there's so much involved in doing this rehab projects that it's advisable to team up with experienced contractor, experienced mentor, or somebody who've done a lot, so that they can at least try to help you get it on that contract or in time, because it's I've heard so much stories of people not finishing their job, and so many things going on. As a matter of fact, even we were doing a project not too long ago that the city had to come and put a stop order because of something, it took about 2 or 3 weeks for them to remove it, That was something that we weren't expecting, so it happens. It happens a lot. So managing the rehab process is very, very important. And you have to make sure that you hire somebody that is licensed, has been recommended, sign a contract with them, hold them, hold them responsible, and make sure that they'll be able to supply you the invoices and the expenses and everything. It's very, very important. In our case, we have a rehab supervisor to keep an eye on what's going on all the time. So it's very, 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 very important. Very, very important. You don't have to be expert in contract or anything. You just have to have a general idea what's going on, so that you can be able, if you're doing it yourself, you can be able to manage them. And my recommendation with maybe start with a small project, to get familiar with it before you move into a big time like what we're doing right now, because we have a team together that is managing all of it. Any questions before we go on, so that I can? So that is managing the rehab project. It's very, 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 very crucial. Okay. Now, after you manage, right? Now you have to put it back in the market. This is another crucial area. And I'm an agent, so the properties that we have, I also market it for the investors, because I'm an agent, so I've learned about marketing high-end properties, and it's very, very important, right? First, and I will encourage you guys, even if you are even buying the 200 or 300 price range, I will recommend that you get somebody to stage the property for you. It costs about how much? $1,500, $2,000 to get it staged. Stage the property, take a nice pictures, and market it. Use all the strategies available to you to market the property and get it sold. And one of the reasons why I chose those areas, because I know the market in the area, and I know who is buying, and I know what they like. So before we put a market, we do a little bit of market research. So we know how many bedrooms, how many baths we have to put in. We know the square footage that they like. We know the kind of building structure that they like, whether it's two-story or whatever. We did a research, so we know all of that. So most of the time when we stage and market and put a property, for high-end properties, they take longer, maybe between 30 to 45 days we sell our properties. And the guy that said he knows Cadell, you know Avondale, that means you might know Cadell, Decatur. That is another area that we target. You know, we've sold, did about 2, with another 3 properties over there already. All the properties were staged. I have a guy that takes very nice pictures, do nice brochures, you know, and then we market them for the price that we want to get. In the case that I showed you, 650, sometimes by the time we finish, because property values are going up, it pushes it up. So we'll be able to change the price and then put it up, which is to our benefit. But most of the time we try to stick to our what do we call that, our repair value. After repair value, we try to stick to that. Okay, so I mean, so basically that is what I do as a buy, fix, and flip investor in the high end. I've finished my presentation, so I'll be willing to answer a few questions that you might have. Let me make sure that. Who said they might have a question maybe after I finish?
Yeah, this is my Trace again.
Okay.
When you do your deals with your private money investors,
Say that again.
when you do your deals with your private money investors,
Yes.
how do you structure your deal? Is it like 50-50 or?
It depends. Like, you know, like any question. Sometimes we do debt equity. Sometimes we do what's the other one? What's the debt and what? I forgot, it just escaped me. Okay, equity. You know, sometimes they participate as equity partners, right? Where the profit of my share, you know, the net profit of my share, 50, 40, 40, 60, 70. It depends on how they do it. Or sometimes they might get us, oh, we just want to loan your money for X amount of pay, right? So we pay maybe 10% or 12% or 15%. So it all depends. It all depends, you know. And then it depends on how much money they coming in, right? Like somebody's coming with let's say I'm giving an example, like 100K, for example, right? So that means he's putting the bulk of the money, right? So in that case, we don't do just interest. We let him have a profit of net and percent of the net profit. It could be 60, it could be 70, it could be 60, you know, be 40. It could be, you know, so it depends. You can structure any way that you want it. It depends. And it's always negotiable.
Thanks.
I don't know if that makes sense, but that's it. It depends.
It does. It makes sense.
Yeah. For example, let's say, hey, George, you know, you have a deal, let me know, you know. So I sit down, I talk to you, I explain what we're doing, I take you to the property. He say, hey, I have money in my 401k, you know, I can go take it and do that, right? No, just an example. So we looked at the whole, I can do 50. We're buying the property at 100,000. I can do 50, okay. I'm bringing 50, you bringing 50 or whatever. So the net profit, we split it 50-50 or something like that. Or the net profit, we split it 60-40 because my company will be doing most of the work. So you can arrange it anyway. It's all negotiable. But I'm beginning to realize that the ability to raise money as an investor is very, 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 very crucial, you know, because then you're able to do a whole bunch of deals. And when you get experience, when you show them a deal that you have, right? That's been my experience, because you know how to analyze deals, you know how deals look like, right? Like the deal that I just explained to you, right? This is a no-brainer, you don't even have to think about it. It's in a good area. It's going to sell, I don't care. And we bought it so right that even if we sell for 600 or 550, we'll still make money, So if you have a deal like that and the downside is low and the upside is high, right? It's unfortunate, but we human beings, we are always, in a way, somebody said we are a little bit greedy. So somebody will jump in, know what I mean? The most important thing is to find a good deal that makes sense. And you always attract investors. If I'm able to find, I'm giving an example. Let's say in the area I'm talking about, right? I have a property that is selling for, I can get it for $100,000, right? And we can fix it and sell it for $500,000. And I come to you and I say, hey, listen, we can buy this cash, right? I'm the one that's going to guarantee to get a loan. I need an investor partner to come with me and we're going to do this, right? If I talk to 10 people, I'll have 1 or 2 that will be interested. The law averages, I'll get some money. So the most important thing is to know how to analyze properties and be able to know like how much you will make after you fix and sell the property in the case of buy, fix, and sell. Yeah. Any more questions? If not, you have my email if you think about anything now. I always like helping students or people, new investors and stuff like that. So if you have any questions or anything, just email me or text me or something. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. Because that's my mission, to help as many people as I can to achieve their financial objectives.
I have another question.
Sure.
You said you're gonna do a live
trip?
Yeah, field trip. Yeah. Soon.
Yeah, I'm looking at my calendar, right? If I do, I will tell Stacy and I will put it on. Or I'll have your email. Just email me, right, and say, hey George, I took your class. If you decide to do this, just let us know, and I'll give you ample time. I'm planning to do it, but I haven't set a date yet. But I want to do it, because it's very, very important for people to really see what's going on. Because I remember when I used to teach some time ago, I used to do that a lot. I take my students, about 10, 50 of them around the time, take them to properties, we talk about it, we analyze it, it's very, very important, And this time I have a property that I bought that we're going to be working on it. So it will be good for us to, take you guys to go take a look and see exactly what's going on, look at the area. Hey, this makes sense, Yes, I'll do that. I don't know the time yet, but I'm planning to do that.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. And it's right there. If you're in Atlanta, it's not too far, we just give you the address, we meet over there, But then I'll bring my contractor, to come over, maybe have contracting question, more than happy to aside for you guys. But I believe that investment is very, very more practical than theory, you really have to do it, because you can take as many courses like anything else, until you put it into practice, because we've been doing it for a long time. We always come across something that is new or something that we didn't expect, stuff like that. But that's the nature of how, when you learn something, that's the nature of what it is, So it's much more practical, And also, like we have the forum that you guys joined. So I will encourage you to ask questions. If you have a question, We have a lot of across the board, a lot of instructors that are very, very experienced in what they've done and what they're doing. So get engaged, ask questions. If you have a deal that you're analyzing, you're not sure, you can reach out to whichever expert, whoever is the expert in the area, and they'll be more than happy to help. Or the founder Stacy's and encouraging us as to be very, very, to reach out to you guys and help you guys. I have to tell you something before I go. When I started long time ago, I have a coach, I have a mentor, Tyler Hicks, Hicks, a multi-millionaire in the early 80s, It really helped me because, I didn't know anything I was doing. You hear my accent, you say, where is this guy from? I'm originally from Ghana, Africa, right? Now I've been here, in the 80s, I didn't know anything, It took me under his wings and showed me everything that I need to know. And then come and then teach. For 10 years, I was teaching, and they made me the live instructor of the year. And then to be able to write a book, that is coming in December, all because somebody took me under their wings to help me, So I'm saying all this to say that that's what you have. I think you have to get somebody to really into it to help you, guide you, steer you, ask questions, and you accomplish your goals. The market is still very good, very good, especially in this Atlanta area that I know. There are still a lot of deals around. There's a capital to complete them, I see a lot of deals and I have to pass through because I say, hey, how many can I buy, It's a good market. It's a good field to be in. You always have so much going on. Yes, Michelle.
How complicated is it to find good contractors for rehabbing?
I won't say complicated. It's just that you have to like now I met you. So you say, hey, George, I'm looking for somebody. So I can recommend somebody that I know to you. All right. And so that's why networking and getting to know people is very, very important. It's not complicated. It's just that you have to have somebody that somebody have used that can recommend to you. Okay. And that's the key.
Okay.
That's why, for example, I believe in recommending somebody, like you want a good lender, a good hard money lender, or you want a good whatever, painter, or a good surveyor or architect or lender or attorney, right? Because you have a network, they'll be able to recommend them to
Right.
you. Yeah.
Have you done business in the California area before?
No,
I'm in
no.
California.
Oh boy. I have somebody that I know that also there's rehab over there.
Okay.
So
What
when you
city?
reach out to me, I'll talk to him maybe because she does rehab over there. So she will be able to recommend some of her people to you.
Okay, I'll reach out
That's
to
why
you.
networking and stuff like that is very good because you'll be able to network across the country,
Right. Thank you. I'll reach out
Sure.
to you.
Yeah, reach out to me now. Tell her about you, so maybe you can connect because she's there. She knows more about what's going on in that market.
Thank you.
All right. If we don't have any more questions, then I took a lot of your time. It's 1 hour I went over, so I'll just one last question. If you do, then if not, then we'll just. But like you have my number, just reach out, text me, or call me, or email me. I'll be more than happy.
I will. Thank you so much, George.
Who
Thank you
is
for the
Gordon?
information.
You have a question before we go, or you're good? Nuri Gordon. I thought I saw your hand. Anyway, everybody have a good night, all right? And hopefully we'll be in touch, okay? Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank George.
Okay, sure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.